So the focus in the market has been a return to fundamentals, which is why we've seen prices come back in the way they have. But let me ask you this. One of the primary concerns is that we could see fresh strikes now. The Iranians also saying at the weekend that they're not convinced this ceasefire with Israel will hold. How fragile is this truce in your view?
And that's you probably have to ask a geopolitical expert on that. But I think from a market perspective, I don't think they are pricing in any significant risk of that happening. It will, of course, also be kind of strange because Trump has been very keen saying that they destroyed everything. So he had to admit that maybe the strikes on the nuclear facilities wasn't that successful. So I think U.S. involvement is not imminent, but of course the truce. The ceasefire with Israel is, of course, very thin. But I guess Israel has no interest in escalating this because they are siding with Trump at the moment, and they don't know where they have him if they go on their own. But of course, it is a concern seen from an Israeli point of view that there are more and more evidence, sort of implying that maybe the facilities were not taken out that effectively, as Trump has been saying. Maybe the enriched uranium was actually removed from the Fordo facility. So, of course, there is probably, if you see it from an Israeli point of view, a concern. How effective was this in the end, or is it time to strike again? I think from an oil market perspective, there is not much risk premium priced into the oil price as we speak. They see this as a bygone. We are back at fundamentals. And I think we actually need to see a significant escalation before the market starts to speculating that it's time to price in a new risk premium. The market was also, to a certain degree, taught a lesson because, yes, they priced in a risk premium, but no oil barrel whatsoever actually disappeared from the market in those 12 days.
Indeed. So there was no impact on supply, and as a result, prices are now reflecting that geopolitical reality. The debate in the United States is on the efficacy of those strikes, and of course, we're waiting for a concrete intelligence assessment to understand exactly what has happened on the ground in Iran, which will be very closely watched. But when it comes to the impact on physical barrels here, also wanted to get your reaction to comments that President Trump made at the weekend, suggesting that we could see sanctions relief on Iran if, of course, this ceasefire holds. That could potentially mean more Iranian barrels coming back to the market. Now, this is something that's been speculated for a long time now. It feels like we've been having this conversation for the better part of 10 years. But what is the prospect of Iranian supply actually coming back online?
First of all, there is actually quite a bit of Iranian export going to China. It's been flowing for the last 3 years, basically, since the war started in Ukraine. But Trump has shown that sanctions can be effective. In 2018, they actually brought Iranian export to a standstill. I think that will be very difficult this time. And yes, Trump said last week that he was open for sanction relief, or that they would not sort of follow up on sanction breakage. It's also and that gave some hope that maybe some more Iranian oil could hit the market. I think there's a limit for how much more oil actually Iran can produce. Actually, but over the weekend, it seems like Trump got cold feet after the Ayatollah said that he had victory over Israel. And also, it seems like Trump was disappointed that he didn't say thank you for sparing his life. So I think for now, I think the Iranian sanctions are back on. But it is a question of how much the U.S. will indeed try to follow up and try to stop the oil flow. I don't think they are very active on that for the time being. One reason probably being that the number one issue for Trump is probably the concern that oil prices will actually start to rise again, and then better let the Iranian oil flow to China. And I think that's where we are. I think that the maximum pressure strategy might be on, but it's not like we are going to bring down Iranian oil export to zero. But sanction relief is probably a bit off the table after what we heard over the weekend. But of course, it comes down to Are they going to follow up on the sanctions or not? And there they might be a bit more cautious, which has been the case for the last 3 years. They have basically accepted Iranian oil flowing to China.